Welcome to Better Together, Lumberton ISD's quick 10 to 15 minute video podcast just for parents. Each episode dives into relevant topics with expert guests and gives you simple, practical ways to help your students succeed. These short, engaging, and ready-to-use tips are essential because supporting your rater is always better together. So for our first episode today, I wanted to give Dr. Matthews, our superintendent, kind of a chance to tell you the reason behind this new project.
So one of the things that I have had the opportunity to is engage with communicating with teachers, with administrators, with parents, some of the youth pastors in the area, is that the fact that our kids are growing up at such a different time than what we grew up in. The youth culture today is experiencing or going through more stresses and strains than we did when we were younger. And I know I've got a little bit of gray hair, so I might be going back a little bit further than some of you who are listening, but at the same time, because of technology, because of the advancement of technology, social media, the screens, now we have kiddos that they've grown up with a phone in their hands. It's different. It's different for them. And so as we go through these different sessions, we're going to be talking about different topics that our kids are faced with nowadays, and giving some pointers and some things that we can do in order to help them be successful and help them grow and be positive contributors to society.
So like we said earlier, this first episode, our topic is all about the challenge of teenage screen use with phones and tablets and really why that matters. And I want to introduce our first panel of guests that we have today. These are going to be people who have maybe their parents themselves, or they might be experts in the field of the topic. So today we have Dr. John Matthews, who I just introduced you earlier. He is the superintendent of schools here in Lumberton ISD. He has almost 30 years of experience in education and helping students and families. But most importantly, he's also the father of 4 children, 3 of whom are grown and out of the house, and 1 who is still here in the house who's 15 years old. We also have Travis Hogg. Travis has 16 years of experience in serving families and students as a student pastor here in Lumberton. He also is a tech guru on the side, so he's a little bit passionate about this topic. And he is the parent of 3 boys, ages 11, 13, and 15. And we also have Tyler Warren. Tyler is a member of our Lumberton ISD staff as an informational technologist. He has spent many years guiding families through topics just like this one, and he is also the father of a daughter who is 7 years old. So welcome, guests today. Thank you for joining us. And we'll start with this. We know that screens are inescapable with how connected we are in society. Today, we're going to focus on those basic steps on how parents can set some positive boundaries in this area. So let's talk to Travis first. Travis, tell us a little bit about why this topic matters.
Well, I think there's lots of things. First, there's tons of studies that are showing lots of kind of troubling data. One of those is they're saying the majority of teens are spending actually 4 or more hours at least on screens outside of school time. And you put that in context of the amount of time they actually have outside of school time, that takes up a large percentage of that. And then with that, we're seeing a lot of mental health issues, higher levels of anxiety and depression, even less physical activity than what is actually needed by a student. And those things directly correlate with the higher amount of screen time that we're seeing. And like I said, multiple studies have shown this, and I think it's something that we as a society can figure out how to manage.
Yeah, so how is that affecting the family? Real life interactions with other students, where do you see that affecting?
Well, definitely in my line of work, we see things from the family side as well as social interaction between students. We know that the students have trouble communicating with each other in real life situations. We even talked last night about how students will walk up to each other and say, "Hey," and they don't know what to do after that.
They don't have that small talk.
They don't. But if they're typing it out, they can talk all day. And so there's just this missing component of real life social interaction that is happening. And I think that's causing some issues. We know even in the family with parents, there's a lot of higher levels of argument because parents honestly, I grew up in different times and these kids are growing up in, like Dr. Matthews said, is, when we were bored, we went outside and did something outside or found something to do, and students aren't just doing that anymore, and it's creating issues.
Well, I mean, how many times you've been to a restaurant and you see a family sit down and they're not talking to one another, but they're on their phones.
Mhm.
Right.
And how many stories have you heard about, families where rather than engaging in conversation, they're texting one another. They might be sitting in the same room, and that's happening. As students, what we're seeing is students, they don't know how to engage with one another, and they don't know how to engage with adults.
Right.
So how is that affecting the patterns of a student's life, a healthy pattern, Dr. Matthews?
Well, some of the things that we're seeing in the schools is it's causing more, as Travis mentioned, anxiety, but because of their lack of ability to be able to communicate with one another, there's more aggression. We're seeing a lot of behavioral issues at school, and that's because they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to use their words. Is what
And there's a lack of empathy that they learn when
Yes.
you interact with someone in real life.
Yeah. And so, one of the things that I talked about with educators before is kids are so engaged with what they're doing online and the different games and things like that they play, that they're not learning the skills that they would have learned by engaging face to face with people. So it's something that's troubling, but it's also something that's real that our kiddos are engaging with on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and it's important to also let you know that we are going to have some resources to extend the conversation, maybe some other practical tips that you can access on the post here, and we will be listing out some other resources, whether it be some books on this issue that we have read and know that are trustworthy sources, and then or some other things that we're going to be talking about. And Tyler,
You had mentioned the other sources. There are some great research articles that have come out recently. One is from MIT. They just released a study back just this summer, and then the CDC has released one, and then there's a couple other big name research institutes that have gone and looked and studied the effect of screen time on youth. And the largest study that I read through was about 50,000 students from the age of 6 to 17. And how it is impacting them in their social emotional well-being, in their, it's actually linking it to ADHD, in their inability to be able to focus, which is important for us as educators because we need them to focus to be able to learn and to be able to grapple with material. But
yeah, no,
And
it's
say
really
real
good stuff.
quick, honestly, I also think we're not telling everyone like, man, screens are evil.
No.
Don't ever use them. Stay away. That's
That's
not
not
the
practical.
answer. We realize that the world we live in today is just different, and so we want to help give tools. That hey, here's the things we're seeing from overuse and from misuse.
Right.
So how can we as parents and society help students manage this in a better way that's healthy for them?
Right. So Tyler, from your perspective in technology at the schools, outside of school, helping families and mentoring students as well, what are some really great practical strategies that you can give parents where they can start with just a baseline, something that would be easy for them to do today?
Sure, I could give a few things. This holiday season's coming up, and you may be planning on purchasing a screen or a smartphone or tablet for your child or grandchild. And when you hand your child a smartphone, whether it be Apple or Android, it's like giving them the keys to the internet. And without setting up any safeguards or having a plan, they can go anywhere they want, access anything. And not only that, but some people can actually contact them or reach out to them. And we've been seeing stories lately that there have been tragedies that have happened to young people because they did not have that in place. There was not a plan to protect them. And so when I think of a plan, my daughter's 7, and so I'm already thinking, okay, screens are not going away. Screens are here to stay. So I'm making a plan before she actually gets one to say, this is what our ground rules are going to be, and also co-creating that, because like you said, it's not that screens are bad, and every household is going to look different, but making a plan and saying, We're not going to have these at the dinner table. We're not going to have screens out. Maybe after bedtime, there's no screens in the bedroom. We're going to have a centralized location where we're going to keep those screens, that we can put them there. And the second thing I would say is we would have these safeguards that are in place on these phones, and used to they didn't have, but now Android or Apple has built-in parental controls that you can set up for your child, and you can monitor their screen usage. It's like we've been saying, the research is saying that these smartphones are addictive and they have detrimental impacts on their mental health, and they're created to be addictive, and we need to know that going into this, that you can protect them by monitoring their screen usage. You can go in and set up, and we're gonna, on this post for this show, we're gonna link some step-by-step tutorials on how to implement those controls for your kids. And the third thing that I would say is to model good screen behavior. Try to be present for your kid. They're worth it. And I know that these screens can be addictive for us adults too. So modeling, saying, I'm gonna put this up for now. I'm gonna make a plan. We're gonna take time in the evening. It's precious time. It's limited time, but we're gonna make a plan to read, do things that don't require screens.
Yeah, that's great.
And those tools that he's mentioned are completely free. I know in our household, we have 2 teenagers and 1 about to be, and so we have decided to give our teens phones at certain times, and we utilize screen time very heavily on the Apple products, but we kind of locked it down from the beginning. And yes, it's a little bit more work as a parent to get that set up. But I started with, hey, there's no websites unblocked. You can't communicate with anybody. Like this is a phone that does nothing. And as the years have gone by, they'll come to me and say, hey, Dad, can I go to this website? Yep, we'll add that one. Oh, hey, can I talk to this person? Yep, that person's safe. And so we usually really use this additive procedure to really create these boundaries for them, because I know that a lot of kids don't know how to create those boundaries themselves, and it's been really helpful in our family to protect our kids and what they have access to and who they're talking to.
And it's easier if you start from the beginning, like you're saying, from the get-go, hey, this is how it's going to be, because once they've been using it for a few years and they get used to a certain pattern of usage, it is very hard to
To go the other way. Yeah.
Well, and Tyler, you bring up a couple of really great points. One is about being intentional and purposeful with the time. And this goes beyond screen time. This goes beyond technology. I had a unique opportunity with my oldest son. We were driving to drop him off at band practice for his freshman year, and I turned and looked at him as we're driving to school, and I said, we have 4 years. When he graduated, right after graduation, he walked up to me and gave me a hug, and he goes, Dad, those 4 years went fast. Having had 3 who have graduated and moved out of the house and gone, hey folks, 18 years goes fast. So be purposeful and intentional. And that includes your media usage, right? So they are watching you. They're watching how you behave online. They're watching how you utilize the screen, and they are mimicking your behavior. Last year, I had the opportunity to have a student advisory group that I meet with, and was talking with them about bullying, because social media says that bullying is real bad in our schools. And so I'm talking with this student group and asking them what's going on, because we don't see it and we don't hear about it unless it's reported to us. And one of the students, I asked them, where is it coming from? Like, where's it all starting? And a young man responded, and I tell you, it's probably the most mature thing I've ever heard a teenager say to me. He said, Dr. Matthews, the kids are just repeating the behavior that they see from their parents. I just about dropped my notepad. I did. And because that was a very acute observation, in that they are watching what we're doing. So when you're engaging on social media, they're watching how you're engaging on social media. And then the students don't know the difference because they've grown up with it. They don't know the difference between on-screen conversation and off-screen conversation. And so they are taking that behavior and mimicking it face-to-face. But they're also doing it online. And that's why you'll see that social media we talked about a little bit earlier, Travis, is that it is very difficult for students to be able to to get past what they see online, because you all know, right? When we put up a front on social media, everything's perfect. And so you're looking at all your friends who you know don't have a perfect life, but it looks perfect. And then the students, and I know we do the same thing, are comparing their life with what they perceive their friends are living.
Right.
And that is a cause for anxiety and depression with kids as well. So I would just say be very careful with how we model as adults how to engage with other individuals and with adults. A big problem that we're seeing is that in the schools is that the kiddos come to us and they don't know how to engage one another face to face.
Right.
Mainly because of all the time they spend on a screen. But then they also don't know how to engage with adults. So those are things that we're seeing.
Right. Well, to wrap this up, every episode we're going to end with a segment called When to Worry and When to Act. Today, really quickly, Travis, what are some signs that parents can look for to see when there may be a problem?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. If you see your student trying to escape or withdraw, oftentimes, like get involved. If they're spending less time in the bathroom because they're on a device or in their bedroom locked away, you have the freedom to check in and say, hey, what's going on? And just make your presence be known, because that's going to kind of put in their head that their escapism isn't really escaping. But you as a parent, I think, have the freedom to do that.
Travis, you bring up a good point. When of course, the law is there now where they can't have their phone out, right? It's supposed to be off and put away.
At school.
And at school. And then when we take it up, the school official takes it up, the students really push back against that, really have an emotional connection to the phone. And I've had parents say that they can't take their phone away. Yeah, you can. You own it, right? You paid for it. Kids are walking around with a $1,000 device in their back pocket that you're paying the bill for. You can take it away. But what you see, and the reason this is where you start to worry, right, is when the kid is so connected to it that it is emotionally, they become emotionally distraught because they no longer have it.
Yeah.
It is an addiction.
It's more like a body part than it is a device.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you see that addictive component of it where they have to have it, I think that's troubling.
Right. So Tyler, what would you say about having that open communication from the beginning as opposed to confrontation when there's an issue?
I think that when you start out right and you start from the beginning and being able to let your child know that, hey, if I've seen something or I've witnessed something, someone's reached out to me, that there is an open relationship with you and the parent, the child, that, hey, I'm not going to beat you over the head, but I'm here to protect you.
Mm-hmm.
And I love you. So maybe not coming down so hard that they're afraid to say when something really happened, but having that, like you said, I'm checking in on you. And it's not because no parental filter is going to be 100%, safe.
The kids are smart. They find ways around things.
Oh, yes.
I work at the school. We have a lot of computers. And I know that kids get around even the strongest filters that are out there that we can possibly get. And so it's also adding that accountability and being able to go and have a conversation with them.
Yeah, that's important.
And I think as parents, you have the ability to teach your kids the why behind things. Like you said, not just like it's because we love you as a child, right? And so teaching that why kind of brings the student in to understand that you're not just saying no to say no, but you are doing it for their benefit.
Right.
All right.
It's protect them. And that's a lot there's a lot out there that our kids are experiencing online that back in the day, we did not experience until college or later in life. Now our kids are being exposed to it because they have a smartphone in their hand with no filter.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Next month is December, and like Tyler said, the holidays are here, and so mental health tips for students is going to be a very important topic that you won't want to miss. So join us next time for Better Together. This is our new Lumberton ISD quick video podcast for parents. Every tip that you use, every moment you spend with your child is important. It helps them grow and succeed, and together we can make a big impact because we're always better together. Bye.